Now, we talk about emotions. What are the emotions which a person has? We have made, in order to help you out, we have made a list of emotions. It's on your papers that you have, E3. We're going to try to avoid talking about good emotions or bad emotions, or even positive or negative. I would like to separate emotions into three categories. Pleasant emotions, rather emotions which unite us, uniting emotions. Separating emotions, emotions which cause us to feel separate from each other. And the third category, emotions which cause us to feel separate even from our own selves. Now, what are the uniting emotions? Of course, love is the number one. Compassion, understanding, caring, happiness usually unites us with other people. Gratitude is a very powerful and important emotion which is very scarce in our contemporary world. I mean, you see thousands of marches against things. You don't see any marches where people have so much gratitude. What a wonderful life this is, and how happy we are with how everything is, and how good God is. Very few people have gratitude. And the reality is we have so much to be grateful for. It's an emotion which gradually comes to a person after years of spiritual work on himself, when he begins to see every small thing in life as a gift and takes nothing for granted. That is, the food I have to eat today is not to be taken for granted because someone else does not have that. Or the water, or the telephone, or electricity can't be taken for granted. And water in a few months may not be taken for granted. So we may learn gratefulness, but since we are so ungrateful, we may learn the hard way that we could be grateful for the very simple things in life. Then there are the separating emotions, such as fear. Fear separates us from the object that we fear, whereas love unites us with the object of love. Jealousy, envy, bitterness, anger, hatred, rejection. All of these are emotions which separate us from persons, from life, from situations. And then we have emotions which separate us from ourselves, such as guilt, self-rejection, a lack of self-respect. Emotions which cause us not only to feel separate from other persons, but separate even from our own selves, and isolated from others, from ourselves, and from God, from nature. So no one is going to say to you in the course of this seminar that you have to overcome an emotion. It's totally your choice. It's totally your choice as to whether you want to continue having a certain emotion or emotional mechanism or not. You're going to see what is unpleasant for you in your lives, what mechanism is creating that, and you will decide. If you decide that I don't want to touch this, I don't want to change, I'm content with this as it is, then it's your choice. There are no right or wrong in this course. The question is, you have these options. You can continue feeling as you feel and relating as you relate to life, but if there are parts of your life that you're not happy about, that are creating a lot of pain for you, or pain for others also, simultaneously with you, you may want to start looking at that and see if you want to change anything there. Now, how do most people handle their emotions today? People fall into two basic categories. those who suppress their emotions, in the first category. When we suppress our emotions, there is greater damage to ourselves, to our physical body. That is, we are much more suspect to psychosomatic illnesses. It's now proven beyond any doubt that suppressed emotions lead to cancer, to heart disease, to arthritis, to colitis, to asthma, to allergies. It cannot be doubted anymore that these are all a function of suppressed emotions. Also, when we suppress emotions, we have to put them somewhere. We have to cover them in a certain way. You know, when something comes into our body and it's going to create harm for us, the first thing our body does is to create a cellular wall around that and isolate it from the rest of our body. And that contains pus and various other substances eventually. And that's the first energy that the first action that the body takes. And the same is true for these emotions which may harm us, since these happen in our childhood years usually, these first emotions, and we're not able to deal with them. We put this covering around them, and we push them into the subconscious mind, and we lock the door. And this causes us gradually, as the years go on, to create a greater and greater wall, a thicker and thicker wall between the conscious and subconscious. And so we become gradually split personalities. On one hand, we understand things logically in a very logical way, and we're fine, and we see no problem or danger in life. On the other hand, our emotional states are a function of not of our logic, but of these emotions which are locked in our subconscious. They're creating all of our emotional reactions, and we cannot understand why we are reacting in these ways, and why we feel danger when we feel danger, when things logically are not endangering us. We are not being harmed. They're not confronting us in any way. So we become two persons. It takes a lot of energy to keep all that suppressed. And what it usually requires is that we don't have a relationship with ourselves. It usually requires that we become addicted to external stimuli, such as work, relationships, chemical substances, sensual pleasures, so that there is no possibility of the mind feeling what is actually going on within us. And that at some point, when we are left without these external stimuli which keep the mind focused externally, and we for some reason have an awareness of what's going on within ourselves, we begin to feel all of these weaknesses, or all of this sensitivity and this vulnerability, which for so many years we were unaware existed, or perhaps even hurt, which we were unaware existed within us, because we had created this external wall of, I'm sure of myself, and I have no needs, and I have no fears. And so that also creates a wall towards our creativity, towards our intuition, and towards many beautiful things which exist within the subconscious, along with all of those hurt feelings which we try to suppress within there. So another effect of the suppressed emotions is that we are closed off to major portions of ourselves which we could be using for our creativity and productivity in life.